Vietnam under the French colonial. The history of Vietnam cannot be ignored from the French colonial period, from the late 19th century to the 20th century. At that time, French capitalism developed, so it needed many markets and belonged to geography. Vietnam is a country rich in resources and cheap labor. Meanwhile, feudalism was falling into crisis and decline. Therefore, Vietnam has become a lucrative prey for France and has set out many harsh policies on the cultural economy, even politics and education in Vietnam. In politics, Vietnam was divided into three areas with three different rulership regimes. The north of Vietnam was a semi-protective land, the center of Vietnam under protection, and the south of Vietnam under colonial rule. The organization of the government apparatus from the center to local levels was dominated by the French colonialism. In economy, the first aspect is agriculture. The French promote the expropriation of land and establishment of plantations. In industries, France focuses on coal and metal mining. In addition, France invests in a number of other industries such as cement, electricity, wood processing, rice milling, paper, matches, and so on. In transport, the French colonialists built the road and railway transportation system to increase economic exploitation and serve military purposes. About commerce, France dominates the Vietnamese market. French goods imported into Vietnam are only subject to the very slight tax or tax exemptions, but they impose high tax on goods from other countries. Vietnam goods are mainly exported to France. In finance, they introduce new taxes in addition to old taxes. The most serious are salt tax, alcohol tax, and drug tax. In education, French policy to limit the development of education in the colony maintains the educational regime of feudalism, take advantage of feudal ideology and old school knowledge to serve the new regime. The number of schools is only open with reservation. The number of children going to school is very small. The higher the grades, the lower the number of students. They also implement the policy of stupid pupil, keep our people in a circle of ignorance so that they can easily control. France ruled Vietnam for more than 60 years. The crime of the French colonialism, we have also discarded a lot, from hard labor to a mass wealth. But besides that, what the French abroad has made significant changes in our country, a poorly agricultural country throughout history. The first aspect is economy. In agriculture, the emergence of industrial crop has made Vietnam agriculture more diversified, instead of monoculture before. In addition, with the emergence of Western agricultural tools, such as hoe, shovel, crowbar, as well as the emergence of many new plant varieties and irrigation progress has been made. In industry, a series of factories, economic bases of the judiciary were established. Light industries and processing industries also have many conditions for development. The tile, glass, and printing establishments are invented and developed. The progressing industries is also expanding a lot with facility for milling rice, making sugarcane, pressing oil. In traffic, In the early 20th century, the image of steel and cement everywhere in our country with thousands of kilometers of railways and hundreds of iron dry, typically Tràng Dry in Huế and Long Biên Dry in Hanoi. The French capitalists had also built many new ports such as Hải Phòng, Đà Nẵng, Saigon Port, which is prioritized to develop with many modern equipment and machineries at the time. Architecture, the need of build public works and housing for the French led to the construction industry in Vietnam and left unique architectural works, a common heritage for both countries. It seems that the French and Vietnamese share so many similarities that the newly born architecture is immediately welcomed and becomes the heritage of today with friends such as City Hall, Treasury, Bank, School, Museum in Saigon, Gia Định, Hanoi, Đà Lạt. Many beautiful and unique French like Metropole, Hanoi. This architectural style is so unique that this today it still does not feel outdated. And the last one is cuisine. French culinary culture also strong penetrates into Vietnamese society so that new habits are formed such as drinking coffee, wine, bread, pasta, egg dishes, and the habit of using knives and forks. Behind the crime committed, the exploitation and invasion of the French colonialists also have a positive impact on our country. So we cannot deny the values brought by the facilities, science and technologies of French colonialism.